Okay, Abbie, this is your interview with Soul Awakening Academy. It's a pleasure to have you. So, this is in honor of International Women's Day. And I always love to interview the students that I know have an incredible story of transformation to share. So, you're currently studying the Master Spiritual Life Coach and Energy Psychologist diploma. And part of that is you share your story, you share your spiritual kind of turnaround, turning point, if you like. And when I read your story, I was like, wow, you have an incredible story. And I just thought this is the perfect platform for you to share that really what your life's twists and turns have led you here and what you really want to do going forward with it to help other people on a similar path. So take it away, Abbie.
Oh my goodness, where do I start? Well, I guess my childhood was difficult. My dad passed away when I was 4, and I think there'd probably been, cancer treatment from when I was 2. And my mum, bless her, lovely lady, but I don't think she coped with that. And I think her dad and her husband died within 2 weeks of one another. So it must have been very traumatic for her. And without me knowing it, it was probably very traumatic for me. But then the real sort of trauma that I was aware of probably hit when I was about 8, and my mum suffered mental health issues, and I very much felt like the parent in our relationship. I felt very responsible for her financially, emotionally, mentally. And I think that was the start of me having some issues to sort out. I mean, in terms of going on, I think I went to a school, my mum sent me to an all girls school that was very much work hard, achieve, achieve, achieve. And I was getting a bit lost because I didn't have what everybody else had. Everybody had 2.4 children families. Everybody was going on lovely holidays. Everybody had nice cars, whereas we were struggling for money. My mum took a teaching assistant job at the school. So I felt very different all the way through my childhood. I felt like I had to be somebody that I wasn't, achieving all these things that just weren't me. And there was a lot of pressure on me at school. There was a lot of pressure on me at home. It was just me and mum. So yeah, I had a lot on my plate, and it wasn't, my childhood was given up very early, unfortunately.
Yeah, that sounds like a massive weight to carry. Um, Tell me more.
Well, then when I left school, I did okay at school. I felt the pressure. I felt the pressure at home. I felt the pressure at school. I felt very different. But I just coped. You just do, don't you? You get on with life. And my mum's approach was there's nothing wrong. We're fine. And I remember when I was doing my GCSEs and I was begging her, I think she could see that I was leaving home. I was about to leave home in the next few years. And she was really suffering. And I remember crying and begging at her ankles, saying, please get help, please get help. Get some hobbies, get something. And she said, there's nothing wrong, nothing wrong. So we didn't talk about my dad. I've never spoken about my dad with her really. Um, you know, it was just a case of we do what everybody else does and we carry on. We don't talk about stuff. We just get on with things. And I remember going around old people's homes at weekends because she led a life of servitude to other people, and I had to go along. I just couldn't be who I wanted to be on any level. So I achieved, success in some respects at school and work. I ended up going into law because I thought that's what I had to do. I didn't like it, but I thought providing materially for mum would make her happy, and therefore I would be happy and safe. Um, so yeah, I did that and I just crashed and burned. I think when I was pregnant with my first child, I'd already taken a sidestep out of work because I knew it just wasn't me and wasn't working or who I wanted to be. And I was suffering. But then I had my first child thinking that okay, everything would be better now. I've got a proper purpose. I'm going to be fulfilled in this, and this is my thing. Probably I wasn't academic. But then I soon realized that that wasn't enough either. You know, I still wasn't happy. I had everything on paper. I had a husband, I had two children, I had a nice house, I had a nice car, everything that I thought would make me happy and safe. And really, I didn't know who I was at all. I was so lost, so lonely, so empty. There was just a total disconnect.
Resonate with that. Um, so many levels. So, what was your turning point?
I didn't, I went to see I was looking on the internet as to I need somebody to help me with this. This is the mentor part of the hero's journey, isn't it? And it was actually a psychic medium for me. And I went to see him not knowing what to do. I needed somebody to give me hope. And he did. He was amazing. He told me who I was. He didn't know me at all, but he told me who I was, what was happening in my life, what I needed to do. And I needed some guidance. I needed somebody to help me and tell me what to do because I was so weak. I didn't know myself at all. I didn't have a strong sense of self. And yeah, I just, got some courage and started making some changes that I needed to make with him telling me that, I had stuff going for me and I was, I needed to do this and I didn't need to march to anybody else's tune. This is my life and I live it how I want to live it. So eventually I got the strength to create a life for myself that was on my terms, and it needed a lot of bravery to make a lot of changes to my life. But yeah, I couldn't go anywhere else. I had to go up. There was no further to go down. So I just had to be really brave and start making changes to align my life with who I really am.
Yeah. So, what got you like on this path then? Like the coaching side and
The coaching side, I started this journey, and my spiritual journey started when I hit rock bottom as well. Um, I didn't really understand about a spiritual journey and a personal journey, or the two being the same thing. But I had dark night of the soul, and I was reading about spirituality. I've never come across spirituality before. And then all these weird things were happening to me, and I couldn't, what this is can't be right. And so I was just reading. I did a lot of spiritual exercises. I went for past life regression. I was seeing, I saw this medium, I did some energy healing. And it would just help me to work on myself. And as part of that, I was looking at life paths and life purposes. And I knew that if I wanted to get to wholeness and unconditional self-love, that was my understanding of where my journey was taking. This is where it's taking us all. And if I was to get to oneness, or as near as you can, then I need to find my purpose. So I started digging as to who I am. I'd made some changes to my hobbies and my passions and the relationships that I had around me. But then the purpose came about, and I was asking friends, what am I good at, and looking at myself to think about what I'm actually good at. And yeah, the sort of life coaching, mentoring came up. And again, people were put in my path for me, which I'm extremely grateful for. And yeah, I just thought it would be something that was really rewarding and that I was good at.
yeah. And how are you feeling about that now? Like, I know, you're really kind of dedicated to it. And I know you're learning a lot about yourself along the way. So, like, how are things changing for you, or how have they changed for you by doing all this work on yourself?
I think my healing journey, when I first thought I'm going to be a life coach, and I set up a website, and I started just helping friends and friends of friends. And that really helped me through my journey, having to make these changes. It gave me some happiness in life and joy, and it got me through. It helped me become more resilient to everything that I was having to change in my life. So that was giving me some joy, but it had no, nothing behind it. I didn't have any, the accreditation or anything like that. I didn't have any training. So, so just as I was kind of being comfortable, getting comfortable with myself and helping people and putting myself out there on social media and looking at doing life coaching as a business, that all went along really nicely. But then it came to a point where things weren't sitting right with how I was presenting myself, like the website and my messaging. And also I was very conscious that because my background had an element of trauma, and I knew that I was going to help people who also had childhood trauma, I felt like I wanted some accreditation to keep people safe and to, have boundaries and make sure I did things properly. So I just feel like I've had some experience of coaching and mentoring. I've set things up, but now I'm going deeper and becoming more professional in my approach. So yeah, so I'm loving what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, and I'm sure you were professional before. It's really just about kind of doing the inner work more and more. The more deep, there's a saying, this isn't mine, but the deeper you go with yourself, the deeper you can lead your clients, because we'll only lead our clients as far as we've gone ourselves. So the more work you do, the more digging you do, the more self-exploration, self-reflection, the further you'll take your clients. You won't be a surface level coach. You'll be a really deep transformational life coach that makes a significant impact in people's lives because you've done it yourself. And all this past story that we have, sometimes we can be embarrassed by it. I know I used to be embarrassed. A lot of shame would come up when I would talk about my story. And I would feel it physically. It was almost like I know I'm talking, but it's like I'm just relaying a script or a story or a film that I've watched. So disassociated, and there was such a big, heavy level of shame. How will people see me, if I tell them about my childhood traumas and experiences? But that is what makes you unique. And that is the resonance with the clients that you'll have. Anything other than that won't land with people. It's the authenticity in your journey that makes you the expert in where you want to take clients, because they will deeply resonate with you. We can't fish for we can't fish and for all fish. Do you know what I mean? It's like, have your rod, go to a specific place and catch the best fish there, because they're meant for you. As life coaches, we want to serve all people with all problems. And once you find that that's not the case, if you want to get out of bed in the morning and feel fulfilled, there is a niche market there that will make you feel fulfilled by working with them, not with everybody. So it's not about being a cookie cutter coach. It's about being a specialized coach, and you're a specialist based on the experiences that you've had. And your story is phenomenal, with everything that you've been through and the resilience. And now you're here working on yourself to be able to serve other people. That makes you, in my eyes, like a super strong woman, who deserves a platform to share her story that will resonate deeply with people who feel that you can help them in some way, shape, or
So I hope so, because you do need to have some bravery to do this. But if more and more of us can get out there saying, look, this is how we felt, the shame I had, the shame, the embarrassment, the, beliefs that were not good enough, that were not either lovable or were not worthy. We all feel like this. Everybody feels like this. And the more people that can get out there and say, do you know what? And I think a lot of it's not just parents, it's everything. It's schools, it's society, it's the billboards that we're subjected to. We are all conditioned by society and carrying these really heavy burdens of something that we should be. And actually, everybody, I think, just wants these burdens lifting and to be their true selves. And if we can give inspiration to more people to say, yeah, this is how I felt, this is what I went through, this is how I felt, didn't feel great, but actually now I'm just stripping myself back, and the people that love me will stay with me, and I'm just going to be who I'm going to be. And if we can inspire people to do that, then, that's just brilliant.
Exactly. And the more you do this work, the more you learn to love yourself. You learn to love the raw, authentic version of you, which we all have, the shadow and the light version of us. And it's embracing all of those parts of us. I know that's a bit cheesy cliche, but it is about, you don't care who loves you. Of course you do on some level. But when you love yourself, that's about, you're loved. Full stop. When you love yourself, you give it and you receive it. There's no question, am I loved? That question is not there, does not live inside a person who loves themselves. And this is what this work will do, peels back all the layers. I mean, what you've been through, Abbie, and that version of you, that poor girl that probably didn't have anybody to guide her and mentor her and make sure that your needs were met. I can only imagine the weight that you've carried through in your life. And now you have children of your own. You doing this work changes your DNA, which changes your offspring, and it changes theirs. So the legacy that you now leave is not trauma, it's triumph. Woohoo! How cliche can you get with that? But but it's true. Your legacy, if
Thing
you
that I've done for my children, it's
what
the
you've
best.
done,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
yeah,
because I wasn't half the parent I am now before I healed my wounds. And it keeps being more, there's always more that you can work on. But having that inner love for yourself just gives them a role model to show them what loving yourself is. And I wouldn't change that for the world. I'm so pleased that I've done it for myself, but I'm twice as pleased that I've done it for them as well.
yeah, exactly. On that note, we shall end it. That was such a lovely interview, and I know you're going to go on to help so many women and men, conscious men.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for your support as well.
Oh, it's been my absolute pleasure, Abbie.